Her mother called the next morning.
Come to Asaba this weekend. I've been lonely.
All right, Mummy, I'll come.
Nancy agreed, already knowing what she planned to do once she got there. She arrived to a mother who was warm and full of talk. For a moment, watching her laugh at her own joke, Nancy felt a stab of guilt so sharp it surprised her. Then she asked,
Mummy, how did you know Daniel was having nightmares before anyone told you?
Her mother's fork paused, just for a second.
I must have guessed. It's nothing to worry about.
She stood and carried the plates to the kitchen herself, the way people busy their hands when they want a conversation to end. That evening, dressed for a condolence visit, Beatrice told the housekeeper, "Don't let anyone into my room while I'm out." The car pulled off. Nancy counted to 60, then went upstairs, letting herself in with the old key her mother had never asked her to return. Photographs of Nancy covered every surface. Not one photograph of her father. 30 years married, and nothing of him left standing.
At the bottom of the wardrobe, behind the folded wrappers, her fingers found a panel that didn't sit quite flush with the wood. It gave. Underneath, a locked traveling bag, the key tucked into the same gap, as if her mother had never truly believed anyone would look this hard. Inside the bag, the wooden box. On top, a photograph of herself as a child, wrapped in red thread, with a small bundle of her own hair tied into it. Beneath that, photographs of Chuka, Emeka, every man who'd come close to marrying her, each with a note behind it in her mother's careful hand. Recanned before introduction. Fear entered. Ring withdrawn. A folded letter to Chuka, in her mother's writing, claiming Nancy had chosen her career and no longer wanted him. He never left me, Nancy thought. He believed I left him. Another letter, false, to Emeka's mother. Receipts for payments she didn't yet understand. At the very bottom, wrapped tightly in black thread, Daniel's photograph, and beside it, 3 words. He must leave. Nancy was still holding it when she heard the front door open downstairs. Far too early. Footsteps on the stairs. Unhurried, confident. The footsteps of someone who didn't yet know anything was wrong.
What are you doing in my room?
For a moment, Beatrice's face did nothing at all. Then it crumpled into tears.
So Daniel has finally turned you against your own mother. There are notes behind these photos, Mommy. Fear entered, ring withdrawn. You kept records. I was protecting you. You told me Chuka abandoned me. For 15 years, I believed that.
Her mother's hand flew to her chest.
My chest, it's hurting.
Nancy didn't move. Her mother's eyes checked, just for a flicker, whether it was working, Nancy said.
You recovered within a day, every single time, for 15 years. Answer me instead of performing for me.
The hand dropped.
You don't understand.
The pain vanished as if it had never existed.
I was afraid.
Beatrice said.
Afraid of being left alone.
And for once, sounded like herself.
Did you cause Daniel's dreams? That man only wants your money, just like the others. You said the same thing about Chuka. A mother sees what a daughter cannot. A mother advises. She doesn't build a filing cabinet of curses in her wardrobe.
The slap came so fast, Nancy didn't see it, only felt the sting and the shocked silence after, as if the sound had surprised even the woman who'd drawn it.
You've never hit me before.
Nancy touched her own cheek slowly.
It belongs to me,
Beatrice said, catching Nancy's wrist as she reached for the box.
It has my hair in it. The men I loved. How does that belong to you?
Her grip tightened.
You belong to me too.
The words came out before she could stop them. Nancy watched her hear herself say it, watched something close over her mother's face immediately after, as if shame could take it back. But it was already said, and it was, Nancy realized, the truest thing her mother had told her all day. She lifted the box from her mother's grip. Her phone rang. It was Daniel's brother.
Daniel was driving to Asaba. He lost control of the car.
Is he alive?
We don't know. They're taking him to hospital.
The box slipped from her hands, photographs scattering across the floor. Nancy barely saw any of it, the phone still pressed to her ear, trying to remember how to breathe. She didn't see her mother look down, didn't see her find Daniel's photograph among the others, black thread still wound around his face. She only heard it, her mother's shoe, coming down slowly and staying there. At St. Luke's in Benin City, Daniel's brother paced outside the theater.
He rang me before the crash. Said a woman's voice kept telling him to turn back. Said the steering had gone heavy, like something was pulling it. Then the line just ended.
3 hours later, head injury, internal bleeding, alive for now. They let Nancy in for 2 minutes.
She knew I was coming.
Daniel whispered.
The woman in the car. She said your mother was waiting.
The monitor beeped faster.
Ma'am, you need to leave now.
A nurse pulled Nancy out before she could ask more. She didn't go home. She went to Auntie Gloria's. I found the box, Nancy said. I know what she did to Chuka, to Emeka, to Daniel. Tell me the rest. Her aunt didn't hesitate this time. After your father died, your mother changed. He left her the house, savings, land. She was never poor, whatever she's let you believe. But she became afraid, the way people are afraid who've decided comfort can vanish overnight. Do you remember the hip surgery 4 years ago that you paid for? Nancy remembered sending the money within a day. There was no surgery. She used it to complete payment on the second plot in Agbo. Gloria's voice dropped. Every time you gave her something, it became proof she could keep needing you. A woman who marries doesn't send that kind of money home. A husband starts asking questions. So, I was useful to her unmarried? She came to me before that trip to Agbo, Gloria said. She told me, no man will take what I built. I thought she meant the land. She came back 3 days later with that box and told me if I ever spoke of it, I'd lose everything she'd done for this family. I kept quiet for 15 years. I'm not proud of it. Nancy's phone buzzed. He's stable, still unconscious. Come when you can. If she chose this every time on purpose, Nancy asked, why does part of me still want to run to her bedside if she collapses right now? Because she's still your mother, Gloria said, taking her hand. That was never the lie. The lie was what she called love. Beatrice was home from hospital by the time Nancy arrived, sitting in the good chair with a Bible on her lap, discharged as though the collapse had happened to someone else.
You went to Gloria.
She said, not looking up.
I could smell her cooking on you from the door.
Nancy set the document down, then Daniel's photograph. Her mother's eyes moved over them slowly. When she looked up, there was no shame in her face, only tired, resigned defiance.
You lied about my father leaving us nothing.
You took money I sent for your health and bought land with it.
I was protecting my old age. You told me I was your old age.
Did you destroy Chuka, Emeka, Daniel?
Nancy said, each name like a stone set down. Her mother looked toward the window.
They wanted to take you from me,
she said, at last, quietly, as if this explained everything and always had.
Chuka loved me. You let him die years later believing I rejected him. I only made sure it was you who stayed. instead of you who left. Daniel nearly died last night. Because of you, I did not touch his car. But you knew exactly what that covenant could do, and you let him drive into it anyway.
Something in her mother went quiet. Not guilt, Nancy thought, but calculation.
Renounce it. Tell Gloria to destroy the box today. I cannot. The bond has already been renewed. It isn't only tied to you anymore.
Nancy went still, understanding arriving in pieces.
You tied it to your own life. If I ever broke free, it would cost you.
Her mother said nothing. That silence was its own answer.
Then release me, while you still can.
You are my only child, Beatrice said, and for a moment her voice cracked into something like real grief.
Everyone else has left me. You are the only thing I built that stayed. That does not make me yours to keep.
She crossed the room and stood very close.
You may visit every church in Nigeria. You may fast until your body forgets how to stand. It will not matter. Release me.
For a long moment, her mother only looked at her, almost tenderly, which was somehow the most frightening part of all.
As long as I am alive, no man will take you away from me. You will only marry when I die.
Daniel was moved to a private hospital in Lagos 2 days later. Nancy sat by his bed and told him everything.
How do you break something like that?
He asked.
Fast and pray. 3 days.
What happens to your mother while you do it?
I don't know exactly.
Then find out first.
She went straight to Deborah. You knew there was real danger to her life. You let me believe it was only a possibility. I knew she had vowed never to let you go, Deborah said. I didn't know if the threat to her life would be enough to change her mind. I hoped it would be. You hoped? With my mother's life? Yes. Deborah didn't look away. I was afraid that if you knew the full weight of it, you'd never begin, and the covenant would take men from you for the rest of your life. I chose for you. I shouldn't have. It wasn't forgiveness what passed between them, but it was honesty, and Nancy found she could work with that. I begin tomorrow, she said. Before sunrise, her mother called.
Promise me you will not do this. Release me, and there's nothing left to do.
Whatever happens to me is yours to carry now, not mine.
The call ended. Nancy knelt anyway. God, break every agreement made over my life without my consent. Give my mother the heart to release me. The first day was full of noise. Her mother calling again and again, alternating threats with a pleading Nancy had never heard from her, naming every sacrifice until the words lost their shape. Nancy said the same thing back, gently, then less gently. Release me and none of this needs to happen. By evening, the calls stopped. Daniel developed a fever the doctors couldn't explain. The second day was quieter and worse for it. Her mother called only once, her voice smaller than Nancy had ever heard it, and for a dangerous, hopeful moment, Nancy thought she might give in.
You are all I have,
Beatrice said.
You will not lose me. I will lose your money. Your husband and his children will come first. They can be my family, and you can still be my mother. Both things can be true.
A long pause.
As long as I
Her
breathe,
mother said.
you are mine.
She hung up before Nancy could answer. That evening, Gloria called. A spiritualist had come to the house and told Beatrice plainly the bond was breaking, that she should let it go before it broke on its own terms. She said she would rather die than let another family enjoy what belongs to her. By nightfall, Daniel's fever had climbed, and Beatrice had grown pale, refusing to eat, refusing to leave her room. At 6 that evening, Gloria called again, her voice shaking. "Your mother has collapsed. The doctor says she may not survive the night." Nancy looked at Deborah, who lowered her eyes and said nothing. The third day had not yet begun. Before sunrise, Nancy spoke to her mother one last time.
Are you still doing this?
Beatrice asked.
Yes. Renounce it, Mummy. Let them destroy the box.
Silence stretched, long enough that Nancy let herself hope. "Stop the fast," Beatrice said instead, and hung up. At 3 that afternoon, while her mother slept, Gloria found a letter tucked beneath the photographs from Chuka, never delivered. He'd written that Beatrice told him Nancy no longer wanted the marriage, that he tried repeatedly to reach her and been turned away, that he would wait one final month before letting the rejection stand. Beneath it, a newspaper clipping. Chuka had died in a road accident years later, still believing, as far as he ever knew, that Nancy had chosen to leave him. Nancy read it standing in Deborah's prayer room and felt something in her chest give way entirely.
She stole my chance to ever find out, while he was still alive to tell me.
Daniel called soon after. "Finish it," he said. "Not for me, because your life was never supposed to belong to anyone but you." 17 minutes before 6, Beatrice agreed to speak once more. "I'm afraid," she said, "of becoming unimportant, of being no one's whole world again. You didn't need to lock me in a box to stay important. If I release you, promise the houses stay mine. You are dying and you are still bargaining over property. Promise me. I will honor you as my mother. I will not carry your lies forward as if they were mine. Then you are no longer my daughter." "I will always be your daughter," Nancy said. "I was just never your property." "Release me," she said one final time. "No." It was Beatrice's last answer. With 5 minutes left, Nancy knelt. "I reject every agreement made over my life without my consent. I ask mercy for my mother, but I accept the life I was given, and I will not spend the rest of it afraid." At exactly 6 o'clock, she whispered, "Amen." In Asaba, the red thread around Nancy's childhood photograph simply came apart as if it had never been tied at all. Beatrice's heart monitor let out one long, unbroken sound. By the time the doctors reached her, she was gone. Gloria's voice broke apart on the phone before she'd even said the words. "Nancy, your mother is gone." That night, Gloria found a note beneath the box's wooden lining, written years before, in Beatrice's own hand. "If my daughter breaks free, while I refuse to release her, let my life answer for the bond." She had known exactly what she was risking, long before Nancy ever found the wardrobe. She had chosen to keep the box anyway.
I would still have cared for you, Mummy.
Nancy whispered.
I
To
only
no one.
wanted to be released, not to lose you.
Her mother had finally let her go, but she had made freedom feel, in the end, exactly like punishment. Madame Beatrice was buried 2 weeks later in the family compound, under a sky too bright for the day it was. Relatives filled the yard with white plastic chairs. "She lived for you," an elderly woman said, dabbing her eyes. Nancy thanked her and did not correct her. None of them knew about the wardrobe, or the box, or the men her mother had quietly driven away over 30 years. They remembered a woman who smiled in church and bragged about her successful daughter. Nancy remembered that woman too, The one who'd waited outside her school in the rain, who'd sat up all night through her childhood fevers. Those memories were true. So were the others. When the coffin was lowered, she pulled free of Gloria's arms.
You should have released me. I would still have loved you, Mommy.
Most mourners assumed grief had simply overwhelmed her. Only Gloria understood. The wooden box was destroyed within the week. The guilt did not go the same way.
I caused my mother's
Nancy
death.
told her therapist in the third session, the words arriving before she decided to let them out.
Did you create the bond that put her life at risk? No. Did you ask her to die? At any point? No, I begged her not to. I begged her to release me instead. Then whose decision ended her
Nancy
life?
sat with the question, resisting it, the way a person resists a diagnosis they aren't ready for, until, slowly, she stopped resisting. She said,
Hers. It was always hers.
it didn't erase the guilt, but it gave her somewhere solid to stand on while it slowly, unevenly began to lift. She saw Deborah once more, months later. I know why you didn't tell me everything. What I don't know is whether I can forgive you for it. Deborah didn't answer that. No one could for her. Forgiveness came later anyway, unannounced, the way most real forgiveness does. Daniel stayed close without pressing her toward marriage. Many months later, he asked her a simple question.
Can marriage with me be your choice? Not an escape from her, just yours.
Nancy thought of Chuka and the letter he never got to send, of her mother and the box and everything she'd lost, learning what love was not supposed to look like. Marriage couldn't give any of that back. It could only be something new, built on ground that was finally hers.
Yes.
She said. Their wedding was held in the same compound a year later. At the front, beside Gloria's seat, Nancy placed one empty chair, a framed photograph of her mother resting on it, an old one, from before she could remember, when her mother's smile still looked like it belonged only to her.
After everything,
Gloria said.
you still want her here. She was my mother.
Nancy said.
I won't pretend she never loved me, but I won't pretend her love didn't become a prison either. I'd rather carry both than lie about one.
Gloria wiped her eyes and almost smiled.
She would have complained about the decorations and said Daniel's family didn't bring enough drinks.
The music started. Daniel crossed the compound and held out his hand, but didn't close it around hers, waiting. The choice, this time, was entirely hers.
I would still have cared for you, Mummy. I wish just once you had trusted that.
Then she put her hand in his. The empty chair stayed through the whole ceremony. Not a wound on display, but something closer to the truth. The mother she had loved, the years that love had cost her, and the life she had finally fully chosen for herself anyway. Do you think Nancy was right to continue the fast, knowing it could cost her mother's life, or should she have stopped? And if your own freedom could only come at the cost of someone who raised you, would you take it? Tell us in the comments.
My heart has finally found you.